let's get down to the real business of taking care of the people.
We can't have a testimony without a test. And we are being tested whether we have courage enough, conviction enough, people power enough to stand up and do what is right for ourselves and generations yet unborn. Come on. All of us have stories. And our stories are our strength. And we need to listen to each other's stories and seek to understand and then to be understood. But with these hands, we will move forward. We don't know what the person, you don't know, we don't know what the people in this room are going through and what they had to do to get here. But they are here today because they are part of a process that says that we will not accept mediocrity. That with these hands, we will rise up.
Josh Fox, good morning, darling. How you doing?
Good, I'm doing great. So great to be here with you.
I get to be here with you. We are here in Chi-Town right now with the second annual, because I hope they're gonna do this for another 100 years, People's Summit.
I know.
How are you feeling in this moment?
Well, you know, yesterday during the opening ceremonies, you all got up and you were like, interviewing people in the audience, said, what are you here for?
Yeah.
And I said, I'm here to feel the love, you know what I mean? Because you feel it everywhere you walk down these hallways, right? Everybody here is someone who was important in this political revolution, and it's a celebration of organizers, right? And nurses.
And I mean, you were telling a story. Will you tell the story about the nurses?
Well, last year when we were at the Democratic National Convention, and they wouldn't allow you to speak, you know, which was a huge mistake.
Yes.
And there was a press conference that we were your sort of backup band.
Yes, I needed
myself
that band.
and Shailene Woodley, Rosario Dawson, Portia Bulger, and
Tara
Susan
Samples.
Sarandon, Danny Glover. And we went into the media tent there, and there was mayhem. It was pandemonium. It was like, would look like 1,000 cameras.
Shay was there.
Shailene was there.
Yeah.
I've never seen that many cameras.
We know that we need to work diligently and hard on the movement that's around here. This particular convention has been unlike any convention in decades in this country, and certainly with the voices here at the table from all places, we need to know that those voices are heard, including and especially the voice of Nina Turner.
Then when you came in, there was like a throng of reporters who came around, and what we had to do, I got somehow in the pack where there was a ring of about 15 nurses, locked arms, holding the reporters back like football players, like rugby players, and I was in there. I was like, "What are we doing? I haven't rehearsed this." And they're yelling at me, "Josh, lock it down! What are you doing?
You're slacking.
You're slacking off." Right?
The nurses told you were slacking.
That's what happened, and I will never forget that because it was being like in a Godard movie from the '60s, like where you felt like you were transported to this other revolutionary planet.
It was.
At the same time as we were clearly losing our country right there.
Absolutely, we were.
I mean, when they nominated Hillary Clinton, and it was supposed to be this big triumphant unity celebration, there's two things I remember. One, when they did that, they played that song, Happy.
Yes.
I'm so happy.
Yes.
And all the Bernie delegates all around me on my live stream were bawling.
Wow.
So this was the ultimate tone-deaf moment, right?
Yes,
when there's Bernie delegates on the ground, young people wearing activist t-shirts who thought somehow it was going to be pulled out for Bernie, and they're all crying, and they're playing that song, Happy. And then
Oblivious.
Oblivious.
Or just telling the story the way they want to tell it instead of
Exactly.
telling the people's story, right? So we're here at the People's Summit
That's right.
to tell the people's story.
Well, what's interesting then, the next thing that happened was that whole room cleared out.
Yeah.
That Democratic Convention Center hall was empty.
Yeah.
And I looked up, I went up to the California delegation from New York. We're on the floor. We're in Hillary's delegation from New York. So we had front row seats, right?
Yes.
So I go up to California, I look back, and the whole room is empty. And I live streamed that. And I looked at the live stream and I said, if Hillary Clinton does not figure out how to get these people back in the room, this is bad news.
Right.
And turned around, and that video went viral and went to 1.4 million views just from my phone alone.
Well,
Just
you
no support.
prophesied.
Well,
Are
she
you a
couldn't-
seer or what?
You know, everybody knew, right? You knew
Yeah.
that it was about policy. It wasn't about it was about the message, not the messenger.
Right.
$12 is not $15.
Come on, say
you know
that.
what I mean?
Yeah.
A ban on fracking is not regulations that open the door to the oil and gas industry.
That's right.
Not taking money from Dakota Access Pipeline and the fracking industry is not the same as taking money.
That's
you know,
it.
Monsanto is not the same as
Yeah.
organic farming.
Yeah.
You know, raising healthcare premiums for seniors. We were there at the platform
We were
committee
there.
together. You
Right,
remember those stories?
right. I
They're saying
do.
seniors can't afford their medicine and food at
Right.
the same time, so they're eating cat food.
Taking marijuana off of Schedule 1.
Well,
You know,
and
which
by-
was a fight.
Yeah.
If people will probably never believe that we had to fight within the Democratic Party,
Yeah.
and we only won that by one vote.
vote. One
because one of the Clinton supporters forgot how they were voting.
Yes.
And they tried to take it back,
Amazing.
remember?
I remember.
So as we relive that moment, and you're sharing, so people get a chance to feel that moment last year through our eyes,
Yeah.
how do you connect what happened in that moment last year to what is happening for us right now in Chicago at the People's Summit?
These are all those people that walked out of the room.
These are all those people.
And that's the future. The truth is, that's the future of our progressive life in America. Whether that's Democratic Party, we don't know. Whether that's something else, we don't know.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that there's an enormous creativity and expression and power and enthusiasm once the money gets out of the way, once the corruption gets out of the way. It's like when you're in a gentrified neighborhood, right? Like I'm spending a lot of time right now in New Orleans rather than in my native New York, which I love. But New York's getting so gentrified. Every street is a Bank of America or a TD or an ATM or a Starbucks or a McDonald's. That's because they bought that neighborhood. But if those people leave, all of a sudden creativity rushes in. Then you start to see jazz clubs opening up
But
and
you know that point
florists
you
and
just
galleries.
made. You said they bought
Yeah.
that neighborhood.
Right.
What is the real life impact of that? So people who are native born, I mean, you left New York by choice, but let's talk a little bit about people who are native born there who really feel as though they can't afford to live.
I haven't left New York. The only reason I can afford to be there is because I have a space that's grandfathered in for 17 years with rent control. That's a control against the capitalist machine.
Senator
So that-
Sanders lived in rent control.
Oh yeah, right. In Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Same
he
place.
did.
But the truth of the matter is, when those places leave, and when you saw, you know, a lot of people, like for example, with Katrina, there was an exodus of that capital. Then you're seeing flooding in. Same thing in Detroit. You're seeing flooding in civic engagement, cultural engagement, creativity. There's a musician's village in New Orleans where every other town is getting ready to run musicians out of town.
So you think this is deliberate by the system to displace?
Well, either it's deliberate or it's the values inherent built into the whole way it
To the-
works.
to our
And that's
culture.
what's happening here, right? So
Right.
we're taking out all of those corrosive elements
Yeah.
of our progressive party, and you're seeing this incredible passion.
Yeah.
You got Naomi Klein on the stage right now. Amy Goodman just spoke.
Danny Glover.
Danny Glover.
I call her Dr. J, but Dr. Jane Sanders
No, amazing.
is.
And this is the place
Yeah.
for that. So we're here to express and cross-pollinate ideas and talk to each other and figure out the next direction. We know what the policies are.
Yeah.
We just need to figure out how we
how
organize
we get
ourselves.
there.
Yeah.
So what about your amazing work?
Well,
You know, you are on the cutting edge of making sure that the message through storytelling, through documentaries, where people can feel, not just hear, not just see, but feel why it is important that we care about Mother Earth.
well,
And Wake is premiering tonight.
yeah, Awake is actually, Awake, A Dream from Standing Rock, that's my new film. I didn't think I was going to have a new film at this time last year. We had just premiered How to Let Go of the World and Love All the
And
Things
love.
Climate Can't Change.
Yeah.
Love, the operative word
Yeah.
there. But that was a film that took 3 years, 4 years to make. And Awake happened like, bam, you know, because it's a collaboration project between myself and a lot of the, several other great collaborators from the indigenous world and the non-indigenous world that were at Standing Rock. Yeah. So there's 3 directors, myself and James Spion, who made a great film about NSA whistleblowers and a great documentarian, and Myron Dewey, who is the founder of Digital Smoke Signals, who reported from Standing Rock live for months, and Florice Whitebull, a co-writer, an unbelievable voice and visionary, who I had the honor of working with on my segment. We co-wrote that together.
Why is Standing Rock important?
Standing Rock, well, if you missed what happened in Standing Rock,
for people who did not get a chance, I mean, you were actually there.
Yeah.
So for people who may never have the opportunity, can you share with them why?
Well, that's why we make the film.
Yeah.
But my first day at Standing Rock, well, okay, let me just say this. The Indigenous Youth Council, the International Indigenous Youth Council, they had a prophecy to fight the Black Snake. The Black Snake is the Dakota Access Pipeline, the oil pipeline that was programmed to run underneath their only water source, the Missouri River, the water source for that Standing Rock Nation. And they stood up to fight that pipeline. And what they did was they ran from North Dakota, which is at the center, the geographic center of the North American continent, all the way to DC.
We run! We run! For our brothers! For our brothers! And our sisters!
They ran there to speak to the president and ask him, please don't destroy the last place we have.
And they captured the fascination of the nation. Yeah. They got millions of views on AJ Plus and on all those internet outlets, Now This. And when they got there, they appealed to President Obama, said stop the pipeline. Then they ran to New York. Wow. That's when I ran into them. Shailene Woodley, our good friend, asked me, and Rosario Dawson asked me to come and do a speech in Union Square.
Shay was arrested down there, wasn't she?
She was arrested in North Dakota, but these guys were 4 hours late, and people did not leave the rally. They waited. That was how fascinated people were with this cause and how passionate they felt about it. And when the runners showed up, amazing. The energy they had, the chants that they had. These are young people between age like 8 and 25 who had run all the way to DC and then to New York. And that kicked it off. And then at Standing Rock, a protest camp was born. And they call themselves water protectors, not protesters. They said protesting is a colonial word. We're not protesting. We are protecting an invading army. We're protecting against an invading army. So then when I got there, which was a week before the election, I was at the casino, where there's a casino, and having breakfast, and I got a report from Jordan Sheridan. He said, shots fired down by the camp.
The images are burned into my mind right now of these, the sounds of my people screaming in horror. Our young people shot off those horses with those rubber bullets. And it's something I can't escape from right now. We're not violent criminals, and we're not bad people. We're not murderers, and we're not rapists. We're not drug dealers. Just everyday people that just want a better life for our children.
We all jumped in our cars, raced down there, got to the front lines, and what I saw, which is in the film, was a line of water protectors in the water in November. Cold North Dakota, freezing ass water. And they're up to here, and they're standing there like this, and there's a line of police behind them of 30 or 40 people in the police. And they're standing there going, we're praying for you. We're praying for your children.
And this was in November.
In November.
So the Obama administration was still...
It was 6, 7 days before the election. November 2nd, I believe. And they're standing there saying, we're praying for you. We're praying for your children. It's your water too. We love you. And then the whole line gets pepper sprayed. The whole line gets maced. And people get shot with rubber bullets. And then they came back, and again, they're crying tears of joy. These people were not going to back down. And I felt like I was watching the salt mine protests in India, or I was watching, what was happening with the Freedom Riders. And I felt like these people are willing to die, and I just broke down in tears. I said to myself, The American government has lost all legitimacy today. People have to know what's happening, because everything we've ever won is because those people.
Grassroots.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. So for people who want to figure out a way to get involved in a movement like that, I mean, what can they do if there were 3 things that you could recommend, whether it's being a water protector, a social justice protector,
Right.
income and wealth inequality, I mean, what can they do?
I think that.
And is
you
the
have to
fight
do what
at
you love,
Standing
right?
Rock still,
Yeah.
are we still?
Well, we're fighting pipelines all across this nation.
Okay.
And that's what the film does. The film draws attention to all of these pipeline battles that are happening across the United States. There's a huge pipeline battle at the Trans-Pecos pipeline in Texas, the Sable Trail pipeline in Florida, the Mountain Valley pipeline in Virginia, the Penn East pipeline in Pennsylvania, the Bayou Bridge pipeline in Louisiana. So those battles are happening.
Okay.
But what I think is, you got to exercise your own creativity and what you love. This movement needs what you love. You know what I mean? Because if I had signed up to be an organizer,
this movement needs what you love.
Because otherwise you're going to quit.
Yeah.
I'm a filmmaker, you know what I mean? I'm here 10 years later still making movies, and if I had signed up to be an organizer, I'm like the most disorganized person on the planet. I would have said,
too.
I would have quit, you know what I mean?
Right.
So you have to do what you love, but you also got to show up.
Yeah.
When the protests are happening, when those direct actions are happening, because what I like to say about this is, you know you're on the right track if you've left your house.
Ooh, come on.
You know what I mean? And you need to be on your feet out there in the streets.
You need to be on your feet in the streets.
So it's that mix of like 100% sort of self-centered involvement, like what do I love, what can I give, what is my most profound desire, and then just be a foot soldier. Just get out there.
So so do what you love. We need your creativity.
Yeah, we do.
Leave your house.
Yeah.
That's powerful in the 21st century, that you telling folks not just to click,
No.
to tweet,
That's an
but
imaginary
to
world.
physically leave your house.
Power is in the streets always.
Power is in the streets.
And so, and to put your, and we're gonna have a big fight for our national parks.
Yes.
We're gonna have a big fight against fracking.
Yeah,
we're gonna have
absolutely.
big fights against pipelines all across this nation.
Yeah.
It's not going to be hard to find the front line.
No, it's not. A war on drugs, Attorney General Sessions is returning to that. They just voted away Dodd-Frank in the House this week. So there's so much work that we, the foot soldiers, can do. So how if somebody wanted to see your film Awake, how do they do that?
Awake, we opened it up for the general public to buy early for the first month, and that was all by donations, right?
Okay.
100% of the proceeds of Awake go to an indigenous media fund and a pipeline fighters fund that we are starting.
Okay.
So that we're going to train myself, Myra and Dewey, the other filmmakers, train indigenous youth in live streaming and drones and all the things that people need to become that media presence, because we didn't have enough indigenous media during Standing Rock.
Right.
So that was one of the things that as filmmakers we felt like we had to do.
Yeah.
But right now, we're making the film available only for people to do community screenings.
Okay.
So if you have like a church, a community center, your own, in your dorm room, whatever. Mosque, we're gonna show. We want you to show the movie, and it's like practically free to do that.
Okay.
It's like $10 or something.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Josh Fox, I just want you to know you are awake in every way. Thank you so much. And the real news, you have been here with me, my friend, and I, Josh Fox. Make sure that you go visit awakethefilm.org. And I hope that all of you are awake too. This is Nina Turner for the Nina Turner Show on the Real News Network.